Hello, I'm Youssef Khalil, and this is my TED Talk about the death penalty. This man on the screen is Earl Washington. He was a Virginia man with a limited mental capacity who was sentenced to death after he allegedly confessed to committing a 1982 murder that he didn't commit. He served a decade on death row, once coming within, would serve a total of 17 years behind bars before DNA testing obtained by the Innocence Project cleared him in the year 2000. This story is not too uncommon in our judicial system. In fact, according to the Innocence Project, 18 people have been proven innocent and exonerated by DNA testing in the United States after serving time on death row. They served a combined 229 years in prison for crimes they have never committed. So, why am I interested in this topic? So I used to actually support the death penalty. I thought that the death penalty used to be an equal punishment for the crimes that have been committed, basically an eye for an eye. But as we know, an eye for an eye and the whole world goes blind. So the more I researched the topic and the more I researched the topic of death penalty, I figured how morally wrong it is. Just because a criminal took someone else's life, that does not mean we're allowed to do the same, to the same thing. How does that make us any better than the criminal? According to the Amnesty International, on average, death penalty costs $2.4 million. It's more expensive. It's more expensive to kill someone with an injection than to keep them alive in person. Staying alive in prison costs our government $1.3 million, which is almost half the money. Our taxpayers, our taxpayers' money goes to the death penalty. So if the death penalty was abolished, we could invest in the remaining money in more effective ways for deterring crime. If you look at the graph here obtained by the deathpenaltyinfo.org, they've done a study and they asked police officers what do they think has the biggest impact on reducing violent crimes, and that's what they said. They asked them which one's the best cost effective, and they said first one is community policing at 56%. More police training and equipment was cited 56%, neighborhood watch programs was cited 55%, and longer prison sentences were cited 47%. More drug and alcohol programs were cited 42%, anti-gang efforts were cited 32%. Imposing the death penalty was only cited 29% for what's the best cost-effective priorities, according to the police, they think, for deterring crimes. So if you look at this graph, it shows the spending of the death penalty in California, and it shows how much the graph. It shows like every amount of time, every amount of money that it costs. A study done by the Death Penalty Information Center asked police officers what do they think has the biggest effect on deterring crimes. Elimination of parole and stiffer sentences was cited 33%. Development of family values and parenting skills was cited 22%, and education was cited 15%. More police was cited 13%. Death penalty was only mentioned fewer than 2%. If we look at this graph done by also the deathpenaltyinfo.org, it asks police officers what do they think has the primary focus for reducing violent crimes. Well, reducing drug abuse was cited 31%, a better economy and more jobs was cited 17%, simplifying court rules was cited 16%, longer prison sentences was cited 15%, more police on the street was cited 10%, reducing the number of guns was cited 3%, and expanded use of the death penalty was cited only 1%. So what do Iran, Iraq, China, the USA, and Saudi Arabia have in common? Well, the answer is the death penalty. The USA is the only first world nation that still has the death penalty. The death penalty is a cruel and unusual punishment that does not belong in our modern society. So solutions to the death penalty. I do believe that the only solution to this cruel punishment is to abolish it, and there has been legislation that came up by both people from both parties to abolish it, but most people have still yet to support those legislations, and most of the Republicans officials have blocked those legislations. Thank you.